Most people think they understand Pisces, the dreamer, the empath, the one who feels everything so deeply. But what if everything you believed about Pisces was only half the truth? Because behind those soulful eyes and gentle words, there is a shadow, a sacred confusion, a divine contradiction that most will never fully see. This is not a coincidence that you are hearing this. You were meant to understand something today about yourself or someone close to you. Because Pisces is not just a zodiac sign. It is a mirror reflecting your capacity to dream, to dissolve, to believe, and to lose yourself in the process. Pisces is the prophet and the poet, the mystic and the martyr. But here lies the dilemma. Are they channeling divine messages or escaping into illusions? Are they healing others or avoiding their own truth? This is where the beauty blurs. Because sometimes what looks like love is really fear wrapped in fantasy. Sometimes the one who saves everyone is silently drowning. And yet, Pisces is not to be feared. Their shadow is not a curse. It is a calling. A map of karmic mysteries written in water. And whether or not you are a Pisces, you carry this energy somewhere within you. Maybe in your relationships, maybe in your dreams, maybe in the way you run from your pain or try to rescue everyone around you. This video is your mirror, your invitation to look deeper into the dark side of Pisces, not to shame it, but to awaken the truth hiding inside it. Because once you understand this paradox, everything changes. Illusions fall, clarity rises, and you begin to see the divine purpose behind even the most confusing emotions. So do not turn away. Do not assume this message is for someone else. If you are still listening, then yes, this is for you. There is a piece of Pisces in your chart that is ready to be seen, healed, and activated. The dreamer inside you has waited long enough. Now it is time to uncover what lies beneath the surface, the illusions, the gifts, the ancient wisdom, and the power that only awakens when the soul stops pretending. Pisces walks through the world like a ripple on water, gentle, reflective, impossible to grasp. They are the friend who always listens, the artist who feels everything, the lover who seems to understand your soul without a word. But look closer, and you will see something strange. A kind of disappearance happening right in front of you. Because Pisces is rarely all there, not fully. There is always a part of them somewhere else, dreaming, drifting, dissolving into a realm you cannot follow. This is not an accident. It is the mystical mask they wear, the one made of music, compassion, soft smiles, and spiritual language. You think you know them. You feel close. But deep down, something does not quite add up. It is like trying to hold mist in your hands. You can see it. You can feel it, but you cannot keep it. And that is the illusion. Pisces hides in plain sight, not out of deception, but because the world is often too heavy to hold. Their ruler, Neptune, is not a planet of logic. It is the planet of fog and dreams, of deep oceans and dissolving boundaries. Under Neptune's gaze, everything is beautiful, but nothing is clear. And that is where Pisces lives, between truth and fantasy, between what is said and what is silently felt. They can read your emotions like a script, mirror your hopes, and become what you need in the moment. But ask them what they want, and you may only get a soft deflection, a poetic answer, or a sudden silence. They do not lie, but they do blur. They do not fight, but they do disappear. Pisces is the sign of the spiritual shapeshifter, someone who can seduce you with empathy while hiding their own sorrow behind acts of care. They are often praised for being kind, intuitive, even psychic. But inside, they may be battling confusion, overwhelm, or a deep fear of being truly seen. This is the paradox. The more visible they seem, the more invisible they often feel. Their lives may look peaceful, but beneath the calm surface is an emotional tide that never stops moving. They carry everyone's pain, absorb every atmosphere, and sometimes lose themselves entirely in the process. They vanish not to harm you, but to find themselves, to breathe again, to escape a world that demands too much clarity from a soul that was born to flow. And if you have Pisces in your chart, even in a moon, rising, or Venus, you may have felt this too, that ache to love without limits, and the fear of being consumed by it, that urge to help others, while hiding your own unraveling, that need to be seen, but also the longing to disappear. Pisces teaches us that not all masks are false. Some are sacred, some are survival. But even the most mystical mask cannot hide your soul forever, and sooner or later, the fog begins to lift. There is a kind of kindness that feels like light, and then there is the kind that slowly empties you. Pisces often walks that fine line between healing and hurting, between giving love and giving away their soul. Because their compassion is not casual. It is deep. It is instinctual. It is all-consuming. They do not just care, they merge. They absorb. They become whatever someone else needs, until they forget what they needed themselves. This is the compassion trap, the shadow that hides beneath the praise. Because everyone celebrates the gentle Pisces, the helper, the empath, the one who always says yes, but no one sees what it costs them. No one sees the nights they cry for wounds that are not theirs, the way they carry the pain of others as if it is sacred duty, the silent suffering they mask with soft smiles and spiritual phrases. Maybe you have known someone like this, or maybe you have been this, the one who stayed too long in a relationship hoping you could heal them, the one who forgave too quickly, gave too much, loved too deeply, not because you were naive, but because you believed you could save them. And when it all fell apart, they called you sensitive, fragile, weak, but you were never weak. You were unprotected. Pisces energy is open by nature. Like the ocean, it lets everything in. But without boundaries, that ocean becomes a storm. It becomes martyrdom. Pisces will give their time, their energy, their body, their money, their peace, all for someone else's healing. And sometimes, that kindness becomes a slow kind of self-destruction. A pattern of shrinking, softening, disappearing, just to keep others from breaking. They often attract wounded souls, chaotic partners, or those who are drowning in their own darkness. Because deep down, Pisces believes they are here to rescue, to redeem, to love the unlovable. But in doing so, they sometimes become trapped in spiritual codependency, thinking love means sacrifice, and compassion means never saying no. This is not the true gift of Pisces. The healer must first be whole. The savior must know their limits. And the most divine love is not the one that breaks you. It is the one that teaches you how to stay whole while still holding space for others. So if you have given too much, stayed too long, or lost yourself in someone else's chaos, this is your awakening. You were never too much. You were too open. And it is time to remember, compassion without boundaries is not love. It is a slow unraveling of your soul. Pisces was never meant to be a victim. Their true power begins when they learn to protect the ocean within. There comes a moment in every Pisces soul, or in anyone touched by this sign, when reality becomes too sharp to bear. The world feels too loud, too cruel, too heavy. And in that moment, escape becomes a form of survival. Some escape through stories, some through silence, some through soft addictions that look harmless on the surface. A glass of wine, a romantic daydream, a few hours lost in a fantasy. But slowly, gently, a pattern forms. A pulling away from life, a soft, steady vanishing. This is the shadow no one wants to talk about, the addicted soul. Not just to substances, but to avoidance, to fantasy, to anything that dulls the ache of being too awake in a world that rarely understands soft hearts. Pisces does not numb themselves because they are weak. They do it because they feel everything. And when you carry that much emotion, sometimes you will do anything to stop the bleeding, even if it means wounding yourself in other ways. The addiction is not always obvious. It can look like spiritual bypassing, quoting light and love while running from darkness. It can look like rescuing others obsessively, just to forget your own despair. It can look like being overly optimistic, lost in dreams, saying, "Everything happens for a reason," while secretly sinking. And yes, it can also look like alcohol, pills, unhealthy relationships, or cycles of self-sabotage that never quite get named. But here is the truth: this is not a moral failure. This is a spiritual cry. Pisces energy is tuned into realms beyond logic. When the soul loses its anchor, it tries to float, but sometimes it drowns. Addiction is not about pleasure for Pisces. It is about peace. It is about shutting down the noise, even if only for a moment. It is about reaching for transcendence, but getting caught in illusion. If you have ever lost yourself in something you knew was slowly undoing you, this is your reflection. If you have ever said, "Just one more time," or "I can stop whenever I want," or "At least it helps me forget," then your soul may be crying for connection, not control. You were not born to escape. You were born to channel divine beauty into this world, but first, you must learn to stay here, fully present, fully human, fully alive. Pisces is not the addict. Pisces is the mystic who got lost on the way home. Their healing begins not by denying the abyss, but by walking through it with sacred honesty, with compassion, with the belief that they are not broken. They are just waiting to remember who they truly are, beyond the fog. Have you ever cried without knowing why? Felt a heaviness that had no name? A sorrow that did not belong to any single moment in your life? If so, you may carry Pisces energy, and with it, the sacred weight of karmic memory. This is not ordinary emotion. This is soul-level resonance. It is the echo of past lives, ancestral pain, and collective grief flowing through a heart that was born open. Pisces is the last sign of the Zodiac, the spiritual elder. It has walked through every sign before it, and because of that, it remembers what others forget, sometimes unconsciously, sometimes through dreams, or flashes of emotion, or unexplainable empathy. Pisces does not just feel their own pain, they feel everyone's. They are psychic empaths, tuned into energies most people block out. When someone in the room is silently suffering, Pisces feels it in their body. When a place holds trauma, Pisces absorbs it like water soaking into stone. This is not imagination. This is energetic truth. Pisces often inherits emotional codes from their ancestors, carrying the unspoken grief of their lineage. Or they may come into this life with karmic contracts, agreements made long ago to hold space for healing, even if it means suffering in silence. That is why many Pisces struggle to explain what they feel. Their pain is rarely just their own. It is layered, ancient, sacred. And it is no wonder they often feel too sensitive for this world. But sensitivity is not weakness. It is a form of spiritual intelligence. Pisces has a direct line to the collective unconscious, the river of human feeling that runs beneath all things. They may be overwhelmed, yes, but they also hold the medicine, because in that depth of feeling lies profound understanding, compassion, wisdom that cannot be taught, only lived. If you have ever asked yourself, "Why do I feel so much?" or "Why can I not let go of other people's suffering?" you are not broken, you are remembering. You are touching a deeper layer of truth that most people never access. And while that journey may be heavy, it is also holy. Pisces is not here to carry the world forever, but they are here to transmute pain into love, confusion into clarity, karma into liberation. And it begins when they realize this pain is not all theirs, but the healing can begin with them. Pisces is often seen as the victim, soft, sensitive, and easily hurt. But in the shadows, something more complex unfolds. Because when a soul learns early how to survive emotional overwhelm, it also learns how to shape the energy around it. Not with harshness, not with force, but with something far more subtle: silence, guilt, withdrawal, and emotional fog. This is the side of Pisces few ever talk about. The spiritual double agent, so tuned into feelings that they can bend them, even without meaning to. Pisces rarely manipulates in the traditional sense. But shadow Pisces energy is deeply intuitive, and that intuition can be used unconsciously to escape responsibility. They may avoid hard conversations, hoping you will read their mind instead. They may disappear when confronted, creating guilt through absence. They may act helpless or wounded, drawing others into a savior role they never asked for, all while maintaining an appearance of softness, gentleness, even humility. This is not about blame, it is about awareness. Because the same energy that allows Pisces to heal can also be used to distort. When emotions become tools for protection, they can also become weapons, not sharp, but dissolving. It becomes hard to grasp what is real. Hard to hold Pisces accountable when they seem so fragile. Hard to confront someone who feels like they are already breaking. But make no mistake, there is power in that mist. Power to steer conversations. Power to control through feelings rather than facts. Power to make others question their own instincts. And most of the time, Pisces is not even doing this intentionally. They have simply learned that emotional presence is influence. That softness can disarm. That tears, silence, and ambiguity can be just as commanding as anger or logic. And yet, this is where their shadow lives. Not in cruelty, but in avoidance. Not in loud harm, but in the quiet ways they cloud truth. Because to be truly spiritual is not just to feel deeply, it is to take responsibility for the energy you bring. Pisces must learn that vulnerability does not excuse evasion. That intuition must be anchored in integrity. If you have ever used your pain to avoid apology, if you have ever disappeared rather than be honest, if you have ever hoped someone would read your silence and fix what you were too afraid to say, then this is your mirror. The fog protects, yes, but it also isolates. Pisces must learn to step out of the mist and into the light of truth. Pisces is not just the 12th sign. It is the last breath of the zodiac, the final turning of the wheel. Where Aries begins with fire and impulse, Pisces ends with water, a deep surrender, a dissolving of all that has come before. It is the sign of endings, but not in a way that means destruction. Pisces carries something far more sacred, the prophecy of return. The reminder that after every ending, there is resurrection. To live inside Pisces energy is to live inside the great mystery. It is where illusions die and the soul prepares to be born again. This is why Pisces often feels like they do not fully belong here, because in many ways, they are already halfway into the next world. They are attuned to transitions, to goodbyes, to grief that is laced with grace. And this is not a weakness. It is their highest calling. Many who carry Pisces energy are drawn to themes of loss and longing, not because they are broken, but because their soul remembers something older. They are here to complete karmic cycles, to close the stories others are too afraid to finish. They are the priestess at the altar, the healer at the final breath, the mystic who understands that to truly live, one must first learn how to let go. Pisces walks with the wisdom of return. Their path is circular, not linear. They teach us that death is not the end, it is a door, a spiral back to the soul. That is why so many Pisces experience rebirth again and again in their lifetime. They fall apart, they dissolve, they disappear. And then, from that nothingness, something sacred emerges, a version of themselves more true, more whole, more surrendered than ever before. This is their prophecy. That one day, the illusion will fade, the masks will fall, the pain will soften, and the soul will come home to itself. Pisces does not push. They allow, they flow. They dissolve what no longer serves so that only love remains. If you have been in a season of loss, confusion, or deep emotional undoing, know this. You may be living your Pisces moment, the end before the beginning, the ache before the awakening, and it is not a sign of failure. It is the sign of resurrection. You are not fading, you are returning. And Pisces will be your guide. Pisces shadow work is not about punishment. It is not about shame. It is sacred purification, the process of turning fog into clarity, emotion into wisdom, illusion into truth. If you carry Pisces energy in your sun, moon, rising, or anywhere in your chart, then you are not here to escape the world. You are here to heal it, starting with yourself. The first ritual is a release of illusion. Take a moment alone. Write a letter to your fantasy self, the version of you that runs, avoids, saves others, but forgets to save themselves. Pour it all out. The stories you told to feel safe. The roles you played to be loved. The masks you wore to stay soft. When the words are on paper, read it aloud. Feel what rises, then safely burn the letter. Watch the smoke rise. That is your illusion leaving your body. The second ritual calls on water, your sacred element. Under a full moon, place a bowl of clean water where the moonlight can touch it. Speak your truth into the water, the words you have never said. The boundaries you are ready to hold. The dreams you are no longer willing to abandon. Water does not judge. It listens, it remembers. When you are done, pour the water into the earth. Let it carry your truth into the roots of something new. And the third ritual is simple, yet profound. Stand in front of a mirror. Look into your eyes. Speak this aloud. I am no longer afraid to be seen. I do not have to disappear to be loved. My truth is sacred. Let the tears come if they must. They are not weakness. They are cleansing. Pisces, your power has never been in pretending. It has always been in your depth, your beauty, and your capacity to feel what others deny. Shadow work is your return, from fog into focus, from confusion into clarity. Not to harden you, but to anchor you. Because once your soul is grounded, your gifts can finally rise. You were never meant to live in hiding. You were meant to heal in truth. And now, that time has come. What if the very thing that broke you was also what awakened you? For Pisces, this is not a metaphor, it is a soul truth. Their most sacred powers, intuition, compassion, forgiveness, imagination, are not gifts they were simply born with. They are the result of surviving deep emotional wounds. The suffering they carry is not random. It is alchemy in motion. Because for Pisces, the wound is the womb. The chaos is the crucible. And inside their darkest night, something luminous begins to form. Pisces does not just feel pain, they become it. They dissolve into sorrow so fully that they begin to understand what most people never will. And that is where their power lives. In the empathy that knows no boundary. In the forgiveness that makes no demand. In the dream that survives even when reality tries to shatter it. What others call sensitivity, Pisces transforms into insight. What others call weakness, they turn into wisdom. Look at the Pisces souls who shaped history. Albert Einstein, a Pisces, dreamed of invisible forces and unlocked the universe. Nina Simone, a Pisces, sang her rage and grief into songs that shook the world awake. Steve Jobs, visionary Pisces, imagined a future before the world believed it was possible. These were not unscarred people. They were wounded prophets. And it was through their pain that their genius emerged. This is what Pisces must remember, that the fog they fought through gave them their vision. That the heartbreak they endured became their bridge to others. That the loneliness they knew allowed them to speak the language of the unseen. They are not powerful in spite of their wounds, but because of them. Integration is the turning point. It is when Pisces stops running and begins to reclaim. It is when they see their suffering not as failure, but as initiation. Because once they stop fearing their depth, they discover it is not a trap, it is a treasure. Pisces is not here to be swallowed by emotion. They are here to lead us through it. And their true power does not come from escaping the shadow, but from walking straight into it, eyes open, heart soft, and spirit unshaken. You were never here to be lost. You were here to remember. Not who the world told you to be, but who your soul has always been. Pisces, you have wandered through dreams, through heartbreak, through lifetimes of carrying what was never fully yours. You have merged, dissolved, disappeared, and reappeared, hoping someone would finally see the real you. But today, that someone is you. The fog was never the enemy, it was the passage. The veil you had to walk through to know what was real. And now you are ready to step beyond it, not to abandon your magic, but to anchor it. Because your gift was never just to feel, it was to reveal. To bring beauty out of sorrow, truth out of silence, light out of illusion. This is not the end of your dream. It is the beginning of your awakening. You are not too soft for this world. You are exactly the softness this world has forgotten how to honor. Your sensitivity is not a burden, it is a compass. Your compassion is not weakness. It is sacred force, and your pain, it was not your punishment. It was your portal. Pisces, you do not need to disappear to stay safe. You do not need to rescue others to feel worthy. You do not need to carry everyone's sorrow to prove your love. You are worthy, you are seen, and you are whole. Even when you feel undone, let this be your affirmation. I clear the fog. I keep the magic. I walk in both worlds and remain whole. I do not rescue to be loved. I love from a place of wholeness. My intuition is sacred. My truth is safe with me. I am not here to escape. I am here to embody my soul. Take time today to journal. Ask yourself gently, where have I confused love with rescue? Where have I given myself away, hoping to be found? Where am I now ready to see clearly and still choose compassion? Let your answers be raw. Let them be real. This is your return, not to perfection, but to presence. You are not the illusion. You are the light behind it. And now, you remember,